wherever you go, however you go. For energy on the go, it's gotta be 5-Hour Energy. And with 0 sugar and 4 calories, there's nothing holding you back. Works fast, works long, tastes good. 5-Hour Energy. Energy on the go.
Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Oh, we've got to fix that. It's not big enough. There we go. All right, guys. So, I reinstalled my computer, and so I had to reset up everything in OBS because I didn't save it. Well, I mean, it's still on the other drive, but I'm too lazy to just go back and do it. So there we go. We got the camera. I hope it's working. And here's the chart. Oh, see, everything is not big enough. What's with that? Well, and the main one. Okay, the main one is good, and I hope that you can hear me okay. It looks like it should be okay. Although we probably need to go and put the compressor and everything back on it. Anyways, to the charts. So on Friday was an absolutely awful day for us, of course, and pretty range bound. And now here Monday, not much movement overnight here, and we're about to open. If we come over here, come over to the main page here, and let's pull up the news and everything. Where are we? Orexfactory.com. See, it doesn't even have any of my bookmarks or anything. Okay, it's not that. Right. So basically, we want the whole week. We want the whole week. There we go. What? No. This week. Default view. This week. Apply settings. There we go. All right. So we don't have a whole lot of super significant news this week. New home sales, basically. So we're kind of getting into the slower part. Let's change the filter so that we're just getting the USD. There we go. All right. So today we get existing home sales, and that's about it. So might be a slow day. There was the open we ticked down, but nothing too big. CL moves based on Iran sanctions. Well, I don't really know a whole lot about oil, but it's been moving quite nicely lately. So if you're a good trader, you could definitely be making money off of that thing. I am not hearing myself as loud as I think I should. Maybe if I just do that. Make sure I've got everything all set up right. There's the volume mixer. And yeah, I think we're okay. Bum bum bum. I think I just needed to turn it up just a little tad. Oh, you know what I never did? I never set up the microphone. That's right here. Filters. So at the very least, so we need this expander thing when we're below. Ooh, I want to say, negative 40 is good. And then might have to change some of this stuff later. But we'll see how that works when we have the birds on later. And the ratio, oh, that's way too high. Ratio. Okay. And bump it up about a good 5 dB. I think that should be good. Or no, so how does that sound? Does that sound good? It's probably actually maybe a little too loud, but good deal. And was there something else that I'd like to add on there? No, I think we're good. Does that sound okay, guys? Let me know if you're having a hard time hearing me or it doesn't sound quite right to you. This is going to sound a little bit different because I don't have my settings like exactly the same way that they were. That's better. Okay. Well, it's definitely going to be louder, right? I don't know about how, if it makes my voice sound more full or not, but should be good for now. Okay, so we did get a little bit of a cell. And then am I getting, it looks like these are working. Yeah, that one is. Oh, this one is not. Okay. So let's make sure that I got this right here. CB. Okay. You sound like an angel. Oh, thank you. The wonder of compression that's what that is. Okay, and my Ninja Trader is still loading something, I think. So the one nice thing that I got going on here, if I can show you here, is I integrated OBS into my Restream. So now I can keep everything open right here. And it's quite nice, I think. I think that's a way better way of doing it. We're catching the YouTube comments correctly. Of course, sometimes Restream just randomly stops working. But yeah. Oh, so I never opened up the Discord. Let's just make sure that we got everybody is all good over there. What do we got going on here? Ooh, there's some good discussion over there. Yeah. Well, they've actually ticked quite a bit, relatively speaking. Down and back up. All right, Ninja Trader has caught up here, so that's good. I'm happy with that. Good morning, Uzi. Oh yes, I do very much like this because I got all of my controls right here and I can see the stream stats. There are some other views that I don't have on here, aren't there? Nothing too useful. But now maybe I'll switch things around, a bit more. Can come over here and see the charts. Can come over here and see my face. Yeah, Uzi says it feels like it's gonna be boring. I'm kind of expecting it to be boring. I don't well if I'm making a lot of trades and I'm doing very poorly, you guys gotta stop me. Because that's what would tend to happen in this kind of action, isn't it? Is I would want to take lots of trades and it would just be absolutely terrible. So you got to be careful with that. I think the next thing I got to do here for my setup is I got to get a better light, have like a light up there for indirect lighting to light the room up, but some of the lights are gone, so it's like this over here isn't right. This probably needs to be like a little higher. I don't know, like that. Maybe that's a little better. So you can see the thing behind me. Not that it's that interesting. Maybe I need just a better, more interesting background. Or maybe I need to do it like from the side or something, Maybe I could do it from this side like that. That would be nice. Ooh, I really like that. What do you think about that? Boom, boom, boom. But of course I need a better, I need to get a better webcam, and then I need to get like a light or something. What do you guys think? You like it from the side, or do you like it from the front? Because honestly, like, it's going to be like awful action today, so we might as well mess around with this kind of stuff. Oh, it's ticking down. Holy crap, what's going on? TweetDeck. White House says Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates have agreed to take timely action to assure that global demand is met as all Iranian oil is removed from the market. I don't think that that's why we moved down, but that was a very quick move, and I could have been long, and I'm glad that I'm just not in it. Now, based off of that, and given that we basically opened at 04, I definitely want to, I think I would prefer shorts. But it is a range-bound action, so the right thing may be to be buying it down at 01 or something like that. Your office is the same color scheme? What, gray? White and gray? I kind of wish that I hadn't, could have done some things differently in this room, because I wish that I had put a double layer of sheetrock along this wall. I have it along the back wall, but not along this wall. And so that's part of why you can hear everybody. But then the door is just, I could have asked, I could have come up with a different door and asked them to put a different door in. But, I didn't know. I didn't know that that was going to be the weak point. And so, yeah, kind of sucks. But it is what it is. I might need to move that like that. There we go. Good. Well, they're moving. They're still trading it. Are you going to trade it down again? It's not quite gray. I think it's an earth green technically, but from a glance it looks gray. And with the white trim. I have to say, it really, with the white trim, it really looks nice, doesn't it? I don't think that other machine is the best thing to have in the background, though. I don't know. It's also nice because when I'm like looking over here chatting to you guys, then I'm looking at the camera. So that's kind of cool. I don't know. I would need to, definitely need to like, get a different camera. Oh, we should do it like that. There we go. Well, what else are we missing here? You know what? I need to get my euro up here. Where's some futures 6E? Yes, okay. The E-mini's moving down. I don't know about this. So here's the thing. I'm looking over here at the chart for the E-mini. And, we're kind of been in this area. You can kind of see there the volume profile. The majority of the volume on Friday was in the 2908 area. And then from the day before that, it was the 2904. And we're at 29 right now. So I'm thinking that, especially since everything is just kind of really, really slow, I'm guessing that we're most likely going to move back up to this area right here. You can see that. Is it a new setup? Kind of. So, I mean, I've changed a couple of things. So if there's something that's different that doesn't seem right, tell me, and we can like fix it or change it or whatever. But I reinstalled my machine over the weekend because I got a new hard drive. Which is so I moved from, an old SATA solid state drive to like the new M.2 NVMe drives. And it is so ridiculous. Like installing Windows, it looks fine. Okay, cool. Yeah, installing Windows literally took less than a minute. And any file operation is just lightning fast. So it's pretty sweet. It actually even speeds up NinjaTrader a little bit because it can pull up the cached data faster. And it made a difference in games. So I'm pretty happy with the purchase. But it's a pain to reinstall everything. Yeah, I want to get your hands on one too. says Lucas. They're just going to keep a close eye on Newegg if you have the port in your computer, of course. Because you got to look, because they might not have an M.2 port, and it might not have the NVMe, might not support the NVMe protocol. Because the M.2 port can use 3 different protocols. It can use SATA, it can use PCI Express, and it can use NVMe. And NVMe is super crazy fast one. But what has happened is that Intel has invented like a new, I think right now they're at 3D, and they've invented 4D solid state drives. So basically what happens is when they write to a sector, right, it's like a 1 or a 0, right? But they've actually found that that particular thing can hold like 6 different levels of charge. And so they use that to create like a different layer, and that, like, quadruples the amount of space that you get. And not only that, but this new process that they've found to do it is very, very cheap. So what you're going to be seeing is right now, they're all super cheap because they're trying to get rid of the inventory. And then when the new ones come out, they'll be, a little bit more expensive. But within a year and a half, 2 years, you're going to have this thing where it's like you'll be able to get a terabyte, 2 terabytes for less than $100. So now is a good time for hard drive space. So they do not continue down from there. And when I look over at the when I'm looking over here at my chart, I'm just noting that there was a swing low here at 01 several times, and then the low of the day. And so I'm not so sure that we're just going to bust that. And I'm not so sure that we're going to go back up to the top end of that range. So I think that it's probably better for me to just sit here and chill. I got to build everything from scratch so you can get a motherboard that supports it. Okay, yeah. So if that's the case, this computer behind me over there, I just rebuilt that one, and I went and got I bought like there was a deal, so you could buy a Ryzen X 1700 processor, and the motherboard was free because there's new generation of Ryzen stuff coming out, and so that's all super cheap too. Oh, Lucas took 3 ticks selling 035. Good job. How did you catch that one? I guess that was kind of before the drop, huh? Well, I'm kind of wondering why it dropped. I didn't see any news, but maybe it happened at 6:30. Did it happen at 6:30? No, it happened after 6:30. I don't know what caused that. Oh, there you go. Tick up. Chicago Fed March National Activity Index 015 versus a previous of -0.29. Some of this move might be oil. Let's come over here and let's just make sure that we've got a new tab. And this one, we should turn off the tick replay because it's super expensive on oil, and change it to a 5-minute chart and do futures CL. There we go. So now we can see that moving. And then let's just get rid of that because we don't need that since we got rid of the tick replay. Cool. Oil moving. I'm wondering. No. So when we moved down, wasn't a significant move in the 6J. So it was at 920, dropped because of an influx of volume at the open, I guess. See, I see it happening. Yeah, well, it wasn't quite at 920, but Like the big drop was like 923, but I don't know what happened. Somebody must have puked or something. Hmm. Let me see IQ back. Hmm. Reading this conversation from earlier in the morning. Earnings could be interesting, but equities will be the most important pit. Will drive sentiment, though. I'm more thinking about German IFO ECP economic bulletin and US GDP later in the week. I don't know if GDP is going to be a huge deal or not. I guess what is the yeah, make sure we're on the right spot. Let's see here. If we come back to Forex Factory. Okay, so it's on Friday, and they're looking for a reading of 2.2. Are they actually going to hit 2.2? I mean, if they hit 2.2, that would be great. But are we really? Is that really where we're at? Need to fix Twitch here. Oh, you know what else? We don't have D-Live up. Just make sure we don't have anybody straggling over there. Nice haircut. All right. Cool. Quick moves with no warning. Or at least quick moves that I'm not seeing. Maybe shouldn't say no warning, but I'm not seeing them before they happen. Apple spends more than $30 million on Amazon's cloud every month, says CNBC. How much does the CIA spend, asks Zero Hedge. That's interesting. China says Iran cooperation legitimate, opposes U.S. sanctions. Meh. So China's gonna help them and just cause problems everywhere again, aren't we? Is everyone long CP? CR equals 6 ticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know. This is what I'm talking about, where it's like, I think I would prefer to sell it because I think that the E-mini is going to move back up into that profile that we were talking about earlier. But given the way that it's moving, especially since it's only moving on 1,000, and it's just kind of no warning. I'm really nervous to make a trade. I see that the Sri Lanka shooting from the other day is starting to get a bit more media attention this morning. Interesting. I don't think I need that anymore. Bum, 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 bum. My little schedule thing on Twitch is incorrect because it says 7:15 and it should be 6:15 Denver time. Anyways, but it works, so we're good. We're good there. What do I want to pull up? Yes. See anything else interesting? Yeah, let's see what's going on in Reddit here this morning. Oh, okay, so I'm noticing something wrong already. I need to change my mouse settings. Scroll the mouse wheel. Additional mouse options. I think you need to go to this. Yes, wheel. How many lines? I think I want to do like 6. No. 8. Maybe even 9. Yeah, there we go. Oh, not any news. It's just memes this morning. So I guess correct the record, didn't awake yet. It looks like the D pattern we see sometimes value between 0.1/2 and 0.3/2. Have to wait to see if they go higher, but might stay in that range without trending. Yeah. Well, I would expect. Should I say expect? I think expect is the right word. Suspect, let's say that. I would suspect that they will stay within this range for the next 15 minutes until the top of the hour, at which point people start to get ready to take trades in the E-mini and maybe some things will change. Saudi Arabia willing to compensate for lost Iran crude, but unsure how much. I don't know. Just when I'm reading here on Twitter and all of the things that are going to be related to oil, doesn't seem like that the administration is getting too much help on this Iran sanctions stuff, does it? I'm not. Is this going to be a problem later? Well, let's read the CNBC story about it. Trump administration announced on Monday that it will no longer grant sanction waivers to a handful of Iran's oil customers, accelerating its mission of driving the Islamic Republic's exports to zero. President has decided not to issue SREs when they expire. Oh, his administration granted waivers to 8 countries that allowed them to continue importing limited quantities of crude oil. Oh, okay. So that news story earlier was a good thing. They're saying, oh, okay, if you're losing money because of the Iran thing, then we'll compensate you for it. So it makes it easier for those other countries to get their oil from Saudi Arabia or somewhere else. The Saudis and Emirates are currently partnering with their fellow OPEC members and several other oil exporting nations, including Russia, to limit oil supplies. The so-called OPEC alliance has been trying to keep 1.2 million barrels per day off the market since January, following a collapse in oil prices in the final months of 2018. A collapse in oil prices? Right, we're still at 65, bro. Like, that no big deal. Wait. I don't have like a bigger chart here. Let's come over here. Let's come over here to charts. Because I don't follow oil as closely as maybe I should. So let's make a new tab here. And we'll put it on oil. And let's see what oil's been doing on the larger chart. Okay. So they collapsed from 75 to 45. That is actually quite a big move down. I remember when it was moving down. I don't remember it being that bad. I guess $50 per barrel is relatively low on a historical basis, isn't it? But they did find some support there, so it's probably not a huge deal. But I'm assuming that it's changed because OPEC, right? We are starting to form a zipper here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it actually could be a short for me, but at the top of the range, I don't know if that's one that I would want to take. I should combine these ones. So, like scenes and sources, they should be one. And the mixer. Yeah. Pushing close to the right bit rate, so I think that that's okay. Senator Elizabeth Warren proposes canceling approximately $640 billion in outstanding student loan debt. The plan would eliminate up to $50,000 in student loan debt for each person with less than $100,000 in household income. Okay, and that money is going to come from where exactly? That is, so at that point, that is literally just giving people money, right? You're literally just giving people money. You know, money that probably shouldn't have been loaned out to them in the first place, but I don't know. So here was the thing. I mean, this week was Easter, so I didn't do like my normal campaign following thing. But Elizabeth Warren continues to put out these plans, and people continue to ignore her. And I don't think that it's helping her. And this week, the big thing that she did was she was the first one to say Donald Trump should be impeached. And I think that this is just the perfect example of where she's trying really, really hard, but she's just kind of screwing herself over more and more and more. Because here's the thing. Regardless of your feelings on whether or not Donald Trump should be impeached or not, okay? It's not a very good idea to try and impeach a sitting president when he's hovering at like a 50% approval rating. In fact, his approval rating right now in some polls is actually higher than it was for Obama at some points, right? So can you imagine if you're like a Democrat, put yourself back in that time period. And if the Republicans seriously tried to impeach Obama over something like, I don't know, let's say in Benghazi, let's say that they found something additional about Benghazi, or there was some report and they felt like that the Obama administration had obstructed justice, and so they were going to impeach him, right? Can you imagine how big of a clusterfuck that would be? 50% of the country still supports him, right? That's a very, very, very bad idea. You impeach someone when it's like 70, 80% approval of removing him from office, right? If you do it at 50%, that's just asking for like a civil war or something, right? So the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, pretty savvy. She says, you know what? Impeaching Donald Trump is probably a really bad idea for our electoral prospects, so I'm not going to touch it. And then you got Elizabeth Warren walks in here completely clueless about the political situation, says, let's do it, right? Well, you would think, she thinks, I'm just playing to the base, and it's totally cool, because, it's not really going to happen. Obviously, it's not going to happen. But she can play it to the base and grandstand on it, right? Well, that's the problem, is that the political class, the people that really she kind of has to get on her side if she wants to have any chance of winning right now, the funders, the people with the money, the people that are like really good at the politics, like Pelosi. Yeah, Luke says Pelosi is actually smart. She knows how to play politics. She is. So you notice that Donald Trump never made a name for her. He never made a silly name for her. That's some respect right there, folks. Yeah, Nancy Pelosi is no joke. She will chew you up if you mess up. Anyways. Need to change this back to here. Yeah. She will chew you up. Those are the people that Elizabeth Warren needs to be trying to get on her side right now. And she's just making the situation worse. And so she thinks that, by putting out all of these policies, eventually I'm going to get everybody on my side and I'll become the front runner by going on policy. And eventually people will see that I have better policy. But it's not working out that way, because the policy that she's pushing are serious problems for the Democrat Party. So yeah, the whole thing is just it's kind of interesting. And I think you're right. Like, it concerns me just because I think that the two-party system is part of why America has been as successful as it has been. I know that everybody hates it, and there's certainly some additional problems that we've discovered with the two-party system because of social media. But it's that two-party system, the way that it works in Congress, has been generally a good thing for the country. But if one of those parties is a complete joke. And honestly, that's starting to get that way. I feel like it's starting to move in that direction. Hopefully they turn it around, but like if the Democrat Party lost in 2020, they would just be a joke at that point. They would just be a joke at that point. And that's not good for the country because then the Republicans will probably go and do something stupid. Yeah? We argue our way to progress as opposed to kneeling our way to it like Europe. So I don't quite understand what that is meant to mean, but I mean, the comparison with Europe is where I think it's really useful, though, right? In Europe, they have fractured political parties, and the right tends to fracture up, and the left doesn't, because honestly, they want communism. And so all of the communists, even though they have disagreements, they'll always gang up and they'll always get what they want. And that's why Europe went socialist and America didn't, right? And you can even see it in the regulations and the focus on freedom, right? So like in Europe, there are laws where people are basically getting arrested for criticizing religions and things like that in Europe, which is just absolutely crazy to me that that happens in our modern world in Western countries. But that happens in the UK right now, and it's not happening in the United States. And it's like that in part because of the two-party system. So it's good. We need Democrats. We need to have a strong Democrat Party to continue to have a strong United States. But we need to have a strong Democrat Party like the party of Bill Clinton and not the party of Lyndon B. Johnson and Jimmy Carter, right? Those were disasters. And I think that everybody know that at least the smart people, the donors know it, and I think that's why, for instance, Joe Biden has been as popular as he is because he's the only one that's not like a straight up socialist. And now he's kind of faltering and they're searching for somebody else, and that's why they've gone to the Pete Buttigieg. Am I saying that right? That's why he's kind of picking up. But the question with him is if he really has the chops to do that, to take that job on, because he is like a mayor of a relatively small city in Indiana. Not any real national experience. And he's never been tested. Like, what's going to happen when he gets up on the debate stage and he's up against Kamala Harris and he has to defend himself or his policy? Is he actually able to do that? Like, is he a good politician when he's not just attacking a foil? Otherwise, that would maybe increase his chance. Like, if we go into the debate and I see that he can hold himself, he might become my front runner. But right now, I still think it's Kamala Harris. At some point, Kamala Harris will moderate a little bit, and she'll probably do well in the debates, and then maybe they can coalesce behind her, and they can kind of put this other nonsense behind them. But I'm not going to hold my breath. But anyways, that's kind of my view on the race right now. Well, it's quite a bit iceberging there, though, 3.5. But I don't know what's going to happen. This is that one that's always kind of a little sketchy. This is the one where it's, to me, it's like, who's doing that? Do you really think that it's going to go up to a new high? And if you really do think that it's going to go up to a new high, why is there so many people willing to sell it into you? That whole situation to me is I have no way of decoding that because I don't know why they're doing it there. A significant chunk of the Democrat electorate is splintered by racial and gender preferences in their candidate. That's going to be a massive weakness for them. I mean, maybe. Trump may be a bloviating turd, but Republicans will unite behind him. Republicans are also too dickless to run anyone against him. Well, so did you see that Bill Weld is going to run against him for the Republican nomination? And there's all this questioning about is Mitt Romney going to support him? Is Mitt Romney going to support Bill Weld? That's totally the sort of thing that I think I could see Mitt Romney doing, and it'll probably cause quite the uproar in Utah politics because people in Utah really actually quite like Donald Trump because he did all of the things that people in Utah have been wanting to see for a very, very long time, and he went and did them. East Trades says looking at going short the E-mini. And IQ says CB run into resistance at 22 and backed off. Yes. Do you short it before it goes here? So I'm interested to watch this one to see why Ace wants to short it, because I'm still of the opinion that they're going to move up and try and test 2910. And I can kind of see a little bit of the cumulative delta coming up here, but it's not enough. And I'm not seeing enough like printing here. Oh, you know what? So I wanted to do something here. I want to change something about my DOM on the E-mini. Because I think that being able to see how much it takes every time for it to clear in the 10-year is really useful. But I don't think that it is useful for the E-mini, because E-mini just moves too fast for you to see that thing. So here, the clear trades interval is 2,500. So 2.5 seconds. I'm going to change it to 10 seconds. And see how big of a difference that makes for me. Trump administration announces all countries importing Iranian oil will be subject to U.S. sanctions. So yes, don't trade Iran oil or your economy is gonna be really hurt. I should have waited for it to come back and get me. Oh, because it did move up a little bit there. And you can see there that the treasuries did fall through. They went through the iceberg for at least a tick. I think you will find when you get those icebergs that they usually at least tick through it first. And then they reverse. See now the treasuries took another tick down there. So we're right back down to the bottom. So this is another thing that really makes me hate this kind of action is that when it does move, it does it very quickly. So we could have done something like maybe we decided that was a sell and we had sold that into 03.5 and then waited 10 minutes and didn't get it and decided to just scratch it, and you would have missed it, right? Makes it action very difficult. Now the E-mini did come back there a little bit. And it's kind of interesting, this little cup. Where's my pen? There we go. So this thing right here, do you see in this area right here on this? Oh, that's not what I want. You see this little area right here? See that little curve? So something's kind of weird is happening in the level 2. Okay, so they are moving down there. State Department official, Iran waiver wind down period will be a year. Oh, okay, so well, that changes things significantly, doesn't it? Yeah, I can see here they're talking about the Iran sanctions, and they're saying that obviously people have to turn to Saudi Arabia. So, of course, Saudi Arabia is on board with all this. It really turned around there in ZV, didn't it? But the spread hasn't yet. Oh, the spread's still where it was. Is that John's email? Yep. What does he say? ZB barely traded 20k contracts overnight in an 11 tick range. Testing last Thursday's midpoint in the 146.19 area of the bull bear zone is 146.18 to 22, which we're below. If they can't hold price above that prior midpoint at 146.19, I think they will test lower today. Having said that, the 146.16 level could be a challenge, which is where they're at right now in ZB. Okay. I think right here that had my test lower, came back up. I think I can get this. Looks like 12 is next target. Okay, got filled. That was a little too easy. Do that. And where were we looking for it to go? We were looking for it to go to, yes, 10. Okay. So a bit of volume now here at the bottom, though. What else we got here? Oh. Okay, so we got a few ticks out of it. That's good. I hate how this always wants to move with the open P&L over to the right. Okay, that was dumb out with the loss FOMO. Hmm. Interesting. So just to reiterate for those of you that weren't at the beginning, the reason that I'm making the trade that I am is because it's been very slow overnight and it appears to be a range bound day. And if it's a range bound day, then the most likely scenario is for it to come back up and retest this range. So that's why I'm looking for 29.10. Um, but I'm still nervous because Ace seems to have some indication that it's going to go down, even though he feels like he caught the wrong spot. And the treasuries are at a support area, so this could like go south on me really, really quickly. But I got 3 ticks out of it so far, so that's good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 ticks is $50, so. Okay, so ZN just ticked through a 1/2 and there was a 7K iceberg there in the way that they just went through. And now ZB is looking at the lows. These other two are probably going to have to catch up first. Oh, it's going to trump. My guy at the CME just texted me. But he always sells it. But I think that there's just kind of a tendency for it to try to sell at this time of day, isn't there? Is that what it is? Is that part of the edge? Is that there's just a tendency for it to fall going into the open? Like you get the extension overnight, and then it's likely to sell and come back as those traders get out before they open, and then it does whatever it does on the open. Oh dear, my elastic here on my water bottle broke. That's no good. There we go. Should be fine, I think. It just won't pop right open. These kids don't feed themselves. Someone has to load the kids on the bus. Oh, French toast is calling. I see. Okay, so we got a few takes out of it, and it's come back, and I'm starting to not like the pattern that I'm seeing in the cumulative delta. But ZB did tick down. I'm looking to see if there's any pulling at 01. Okay. So now they're hitting into a 1/2, and there's an iceberg there as well. Okay. That uptick was a little bit uneventful. I think that robots took that one. My ears feel a little plugged. They're probably not drinking enough water. Okay. Hmm. Saudi Arabia oil minister will work with others to ensure oil supply. It's pretty much just been all the news has just been oil, 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 hasn't it? Surprisingly enough, the oil hasn't been, obviously there was the big move up on the news, but then since then, it hasn't really been that, doesn't really look that active. Okay. Interesting. 5K now at 01 half. Okay. Cleared 01 half, but it went offer then again. Weak offer. 5 year has ticked up. ZB still sitting down there in the low. E-mini A tick higher. Maybe they're going to push this top end here again. I'm still kind of seeing some things in the cumulative delta on at least equities that concern me a little bit. There was somebody that commented on my which product should you trade, and he said, "So, what should I trade?" And I was like, I haven't replied to him, but I'm thinking like, okay, you clearly didn't listen to the video because I said at the very beginning what I think you should trade, but then why I wasn't going to just straight up, say, oh, you should trade this and then end it. That I was going to tell you everything so you could make your own decision. Some people. Some people, guys. Tesla investors might be eagerly waiting the company's first quarter results, but the electric vehicle maker is looking further into the future. I was hearing some news earlier today that they were looking into a car explosion of some sort. Like, ew, that doesn't sound good. Secretary Pompeo, maximum pressure on the Iranian regime means maximum pressure. That's why the US will not issue any exceptions to Iranian oil exporters. The global oil market remains well supplied. We're confident it will remain stable as jurisdictions transition away from Iranian crude. Okay. Okay, well, 01 went off for NCN. So they were not able to get up through that 015. They traded 56 there. At one point it was offering more. They were only had like 100 on there. And now we have ticked down and we are ticking into lows and ZB is down several ticks. Perhaps they are anticipating a buy in the E-mini. We're going to see. That's kind of what this one looks like to me. Well, the E-mini's not just going, is it? Okay. Well, they really fell out there in ZB. That was maybe a little bit too far. And look, we did just push through our price there in ES. So I'm looking at this now like not necessarily the right place. Okay, so this is interesting. They had to sell 400 to get through that. Pretty big fall off in cumulative delta. Treasury's not so sure. That was kind of what I was worried about in the ES, but now that it's happened, it wasn't like so bad, so I'm not so sure. Saudi Falith says Kingdom will ensure oil supplies available to consumers and that global oil market does not go out of balance. That's just all anybody wants to talk about is oil. We should just be trading oil today. That's where all the action is. Apparently. Apparently that's where all the action is. That was a lot of a sell. I don't know what the deal with that is. Five minutes to equities open. So a bit trading here now at 28.99 and 3/4 in ES. Treasuries seems to have calmed down a little bit. They did turn up for a moment, so that's a possible pivot or a possible swing change in the swing. To Talib's point, you can only learn from an academic how to be an academic. Instead of conveying embodied know-how from a place of deep understanding, an academic will formulate answers to essay questions and explain his reasoning in order to keep his GPA up. Well, this is my problem with Elizabeth Warren, is I feel like that she's just an academic and she doesn't have any real world experience, and her economic policies clearly indicate that. Okay, so there was a little bit of a move up in the ES. I wonder if they get back up above that 29 even and a half. So far, it's looking like not so good. They're having trouble just holding 29 evens. 2,900 even. Is that the way I should say it? Former allies of Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan attacked his leadership in a rare sign of a rebellion within the party. Okay. So this is very quiet right here in the ES. Dennis saying ZB looks relatively cheap. We posted a ton of charts. Well, now that they touched this, the next one below that is 06. Okay. So I'm liking what I'm seeing in the volume on the open in the E-mini so far. Because they are buying it. And they're buying it up above that price where we saw a relatively significant sell in the pre-market. So, okay. That was all they got. They're already turning. I don't know. As soon as it did, it's kind of funny, like, as soon as it does the thing that you like, and then all of a sudden it's very quickly, it's like, no, no, wait. Okay. Okay. It's a little bit of an aggressive push there by the buyers. It falls back too easily. Ooh, okay. So some sweeps. So now that we're getting those sweeps, I think we're good to hold it. Like I feel much more confident in it now that I saw that sweep. Doesn't mean that it's gonna for sure thing, because I don't know like if that's like how good of a signal that is, but it's definitely good to have sweeps like that on your side. I would prefer that these bids were absorbing more, but okay. because I liked the volume on the open, but it's not really very sustained as it looks incredibly, well, not incredibly, but somewhat range bound in ES still. So that, they could just stop us out here. See, they're having a hard time getting back above our price. Yeah. You're getting a reasonable amount of people taking it both sides here, but it's like range bound action size. These treasuries still look like stuck. It was a little bit of a buy there, but maybe not significant. Okay. A little bit of a victory there for the buyers in the ES. Just back to the other side of the range. So overall, the delta is buying, but they're not making it out yet. Okay. So I think that some buyers gave up there because that cumulative delta came almost all the way back. But again, we're still only talking about a few hundred contracts. Okay. So that delta came almost all the way back, and now they sold it all, and now they've bought it all, and we're back up at the top part. Okay. Well, they traded into that high. They didn't take it. Regular session high, mind you. Okay, new high. Oh, they really busted that easy. Okay, and ooh, the treasuries got knocked down there as they did it. Hear children moving, so that's good. I only see one down here though. The cumulative deltas actually still looks pretty tight. I'm not quite yet seeing like a real like run higher. Is the market still on holidays? Do we have an early close today in the futures? So there's still some volume to come out here if they're going to keep busting new highs. There's some more people to stop out higher if they decide to go for it. Come on. Squeeze them. Not quite. They need to do like probably one or two more pushes. Okay. Now Treasury's trading back and forth there again. They're still not sure if the E-mini's going to go down or not. Okay. Still not quite. Okay, but there's somebody defending it. Okay, now new cumulative delta high. Okay. Yeah, there you go. There's all your stops. So now there's some delta from 2904. So they're still at a critical area. There's 04 and 07. Was that an E-mini trade? Yeah. This is such a hard call out lows in treasuries. I think that it's such a hard call in general in treasuries. Like, because the thing that I'm seeing is that I really think that treasuries moved down to the lows because some people were egging to buy the E-mini. And if they're doing it, given the time they were doing it and everything, if you're going to make a trade, the E-mini is going to be a better trade, right? Because the E-mini is going to actually move, whereas the treasuries, you might get a tick, which is kind of what's happened. but they're still pushing lower. So who knows, you know? So ZN has some area around here, 30 half. So they have some room to go a little bit lower. Yeah, I am long in the E-mini. Yep. So as a just to reiterate here again, the trade is that we're going to move back up to the oops, that's the ZN. Here's the ES. The trade is that we're going to move back up into the value area from Friday. I see this. This is one of those times where if you are not watching E-minis, you don't have a read on treasuries. Yeah, exactly. Because it's the core that I mean, there's lots of things moving it, but that correlation appears to be one of the most significant components of the treasury action at the moment. It's hard to take a trade because it's like you shouldn't take a trade like here's the correlation and the E-mini is going, but you have to know that okay, right now the most influential thing is ES, and so I definitely at the very least I don't want to be against what ES is doing, right? Okay, so here's where I have to move it up at least to break even. You know, you have to at least be aware so that you can see, so that you can read why it's doing what it's doing, right? Like there are definitely people fading this move down in the treasuries, right? Why is it going through them? Because the E-mini is moving up. That's my take. So is there a trade in there for you? Maybe if you see a particular set of order flow and the risk reward is right for you, you might have been able to say, I can get a 1/2, and if I lose, it's going to go maybe up to 0.03, so I can risk 3 ticks on that side, and I can risk 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this side. So it's a reasonable trade, and if you had some sort of statistical edge that said that it was likely to go back and revisit this low from Friday, then you could take that trade, right? And that's where knowing what the E-mini is doing could help you potentially make a trade. But it's not, the trade isn't, E-mini is going up, so I'm going to sell this. That never works out. Lucas, I'm looking to buy it even. I have to wait a bit. You mean 123 even? Because it could have gotten filled already, I think. Well, things have slowed down considerably here in the E-mini, but they are still pushing the upper end of it. And I think in the past I've taken it off at +2. I think in this case I should just keep trailing it and wait for my target. So we got through that one resistance area. There's going to be another resistance at 07. There was a pivot there, and you can already see some orders sitting up there. So let's see if they go up there, attack it, and try and stop those guys out too. Okay. You can see every step that they take up in the E-mini, the treasuries are going down. A very strong correlation. Anytime that I see a target down there and I'm like, I don't know, that's really far away. I'm not so sure that we're going to make that today on a Monday. It's like they always do it. You notice that? So whenever I'm skeptical about a price level, it's like they have to do it. Ah, well, if Seth isn't so sure, then that means that we've got to do it. Donald Trump tweeted, only high crimes and misdemeanors can lead to impeachment. There were no crimes by me, no collusion, no obstruction. So you can't impeach. It was the Democrats that committed the crimes, not your Republican president. Tables are finally turning on the witch hunt, says Donald Trump. Well, that is definitely how the Donald Trump supporters feel. It's going to be interesting to see if the tables actually do flip. Like if they start prosecuting some of the people that did things illegal in this investigation, like with the FISA warrants and stuff. That could be the politically very interesting. Okay, there's a lot of volume trading right there at 06. Well, not a lot, but it's 700. They're actually sold down quite a bit, and it's holding. You see that right there? That was about 1,000 contracts sold, and it actually held that high area. So that appears to me, perhaps some guys taking this as a continuation. But clearly, at this point, people have to be looking at the profile and thinking, yeah, we could revisit the 2910 area. Which, if we got it, would be amazing. I actually should put it right there, but you're gonna have to, when it gets up there, we're gonna have to be on our toes because it could totally flip on us there. Well, it'll probably range back and forth quite a bit there. See, they're fading in E-mini thinking that maybe the ES is going to turn there, and then it doesn't, and it goes for new low. There was a significant buy in CB there, and they're still at 12. Okay. See that the delta? Wow. So a really big divergence there. Relatively speaking, that's a lot of fuel because that's about 3,000 contracts short. And compared to the rest of the action this morning, that's a lot. That's a lot. So that is one that we definitely need to keep an eye on what's going on here. And there is some liquidity here holding us up at 2905. It is kind of stacking behind it. Wrong screen. Oh, yes. Right here. See the little peak off. Been switching back and forth, but I don't necessarily have it open all the time. Should fix that. So you got I have it all in OBS now, so but I'm covering over the live screen part with the with Twitter, so okay. So we're towards the high end of this. If they break a new high, that could be, it might be exciting. Yeah. If they really go for a new high there, that could be exciting. Mhm. Well, they're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive than that if that's what they're actually going to do. Kind of just tinkering around with this price right now. I bet you that the replies to that Trump tweet are going to be amusing. Let's see. Oh, there's not a Craftsman brother at the top. What's with that? Oh, here he is. Ed Mueller shows clear evidence of obstruction of justice. Thank you for making the decision an easy one for Democrats. You continue to make a fool of yourself. And then Brian says, Ed, if you think he's making a fool of himself now, wait. Just wait until he's under oath on live TV before the end at his impeachment hearing. I'm really. They lifted 31 half too fast and didn't want to pay up at evens. You need to get closer to the CME to get faster fills. Yeah, I don't know. I really think that if you just know the price that you want and you know the probability of it getting filled, because even if you were close to the CME, trying to play that Q game is it's really hard for a retail guy, you know. When you look at this right here, like if you want to get filled at 31, there's 6,000 in front of you. That's pretty uncertain. And if you're really feeling nervous like that, you need to get out. Okay, 1525 at 31 half. You could maybe get filled there, right? 31, it's not so sure because there's 6. Now, maybe if they tick down, they actually just completely pull that. But, or you could just hit into 123 even. Oh, he's joking. Oh, okay. I was starting to get a little confused because I'm like, wait, it's going back down. What is he all excited about? So I find it really interesting that these Krasenstein guys on Twitter are always like up at the top of the Trump tweets because they don't say anything interesting. Like that is like the most boring, um, like predictable response that those guys put on there. And it's very interesting. And yet they're always up there. Samsung cancels Galaxy Fold launch events after reviewers report defects. Oh, that's not good. I really wanted that phone. I waited for years for that phone. And by the way, I'm maybe pushing the mic a little bit too hard, so if it sounds weird, let me know. Anyways, I really wanted that phone, and I was like, oh, they say that it's going to come out this next year, so I avoided getting a new phone for like a year so that I could get the new one. And then I decided, maybe it's never going to happen. So I gave up on it. And it did eventually come out, but it was like like $2,000 or something like that. Like it was something crazy expensive. And I'm really glad that that I didn't wait because I would have been like tempted to buy it. And now it sounds like that the Fold, which is a very complicated thing and that they spent a lot of effort developing, has problems. So that really sucks for Samsung. We will have to wait. I want that phone too. Well, don't worry. Here in 5 years, we'll probably all have a phone like that. I'm sure that once they figure out the Fold and it becomes popular and the price comes down, and all the other phone manufacturers will start doing it too. For sure. Senator Mike Lee says the Mueller report hasn't changed his opinion of President Donald Trump, and it likely won't change the opinion of his colleagues. When work becomes an identity, burnout becomes a lifestyle, capitalism becomes a religion, and productivity becomes a way we measure human value. So this brings me to it's about 8 o'clock, so it's about time to get into that. My thought for the day. So I've been doing a lot of research about the excuse me, what's Lucas saying? I understand the price, but I can't finance the first breakthroughs. Yeah, exactly. Anyways, I've been doing a lot of research about the tribal nature of humans. And I'm kind of starting to think that a very large portion of the current problems in society, and let's say American society, or Western society, let's say, the industrialized world, or the modern world, is there's problems first of family, and I think that that's been kind of a thing that people have been talking about for a long time, but then I think it's second, it's of tribe. Because back in the day, your tribe was really your church congregation, right? That was kind of like the people that lived close to you, and you knew all of the families and that sort of a thing. And there was a time when it was like everybody in that town, they went to that one church, and now we don't have that anymore. And so I think that a lot of the problems, and like especially things like depression and stuff, are people looking for tribes. And I think that when you don't have a tribe, your biology naturally thinks something is up, right? Because if you don't have a tribe, that must mean that some sort of apocalypse is going on. Like things aren't good at the time, and so you kind of get people are always looking to create new tribes, and some of the things that they naturally go into and make their tribe are not healthy for them. For instance, I don't think that it's a good thing for your tribe to be your job, right? You have a job within the tribe, and you provide a certain service to the town or whatever that is useful to other people. But then when it's like your whole workplace becomes your tribe, you're gonna probably overwork yourself, and you're not going to spend as much time with your family, and you're not going to spend as much time at home and with your real community where that effort needs to be, right? So I kind of like that that tweet there that they were doing. Some people, but I think more common is that they're starting to make politics, like they're replacing religion with politics. That becomes their tribe, and we can all see the problems with that. And it's even a bigger problem because political parties tend to attract only a certain group of people, and so you have like an imbalance within the party themselves. And that's where you get these things like Democrats are doing certain things that probably aren't very good for them electorally, but they don't realize it because they're missing those other components, that the people with those personalities that would kind of put the brakes on and say, hey, hold on, wait a second, this isn't a good idea. Those people have been kicked out of the party. Ooh, they're so wide, they're so close. Do it. Yeah. Okay, that wasn't quite. Okay, there we go. I'm actually tempted to maybe extend my target. No, I think I should. Well, it could potentially go as high as 11, but I think where I have my target right now is pretty good. I think it may still stop before we get there. Also, there was some stops going off there, but they're not like a new high in cumulative delta yet. So that could mean that there's more in this, but it could always fall apart quickly. Well, what is the indicator below on your chart in white? That is cumulative delta. Well, there's still, I don't know. They kind of backed off there a little bit too easily. There could still be more to get out of that if they really wanted to push it, but maybe they just don't have the contracts anymore. The treasuries did pull back there by quite a bit. So I don't know. And they're still up there on the high in the equities, but they're not just like gunning for it. It's just kind of slow and steady. I think we could still have a rush of volume. Okay, so there is a rush of volume. Big bid showed up there too. Pretty big iceberg on the offer. I think I'm going to move this up. Cool. This is the new guy in the equity indexes channel, TBY. Asking a question, glad to help. I blame the ES strong buy because of oil. Is there any correlation between them that was expected? I don't know. Like, the thing that's funny is that oil, if I can come back over here to my charts, remind me to switch back, but you can see oil down in the bottom left. There was, of course, a huge move overnight, but then since then it's been like relatively tight trading this morning. So, yeah, I'm not so sure that oil is a big driver here or not. If oil was a driver, I would expect that you would have seen a big move in the E-mini well, I guess there was a move overnight, so maybe it had something to do with it. I still think that this is largely just reverting to Friday's, mean reversion. It's reverting back to the value area from Friday, and that's why probably that was the bottom of that value area, and you could see somebody definitely took some contracts off there, took some profits at 2908.75. So I'm not experienced enough in ES to know if that was where I should have taken it off on that one. Like I got the cumulative delta to come off, and I saw it. The thing is we still haven't made a new high in cumulative deltas, so it wouldn't be unreasonable for them to continue pushing up and to try and stop more people out. But the plan has been to trail it behind us 8 ticks. So that's what we're going to do. And if we get 300 off of this one, we get stopped out and we get 300, then so be it. That's still a really good trade, right? So yeah. It looks like at the moment very likely that they're going to do it now. Yep. Cool. It actually gave me a tick of slippage. I'm happy with that one. Probably could have gotten a little bit more. I don't know. 300 is my zero. Well, so the question though is, have you taken like a bunch of trades and you're break even, or did you just not trade? Because I think that if you just didn't trade, that you're still a winner. I don't know. Obviously, if you went short in treasuries and made some money on going short treasuries, then you're a champ. I had no. There's no real way for me to know that it's going to do that. You know. So that's interesting that this size is showing up below us right where we took our target. So that definitely looks like some potential reversal. Should have just taken it. I think that on a day like today, when it seems pretty slow, and especially on the treasuries, we aren't sure what it's going to do. That when we saw the iceberg, we should have taken it off. That would have been another $100, but it's not a huge deal. But I'm wondering if that's a reversal now, because it's going down to new lows in cumulative delta. These sellers are not giving up, and there's this size below us now. Of course, that could be just be a trap, and they're going to go up and bust another new high. I don't know. It's kind of interesting, though. Kind of interesting. What do we got? Oh, okay. What did Uzi say here? Nah, I missed the drop around 21. Kind of feel like that was the sweet spot. Now dead for the rest of the day. Yeah. I don't get the feeling like it's going to rampage down much further. I suppose I could try and bid for a few ticks, but I'm wary I just get churned in range. Yeah, now, especially since they didn't, I think that there might be another push lower, actually, or there might be an attempt, because they're going to want to try and take out that '06. But I think you're right. Like the risk reward is a lot less, especially since there's the probability that it could come all the way back up to 16. And so your risk reward is 1 to 1 and your probability is uncertain. So that's not a good trade. Should notice that shit early since ZB was struggling to take Friday's point of control. Negative delta selling within Friday's value, so I missed the bus. Yeah. Well, the thing that was difficult for me, if I come back over here to the chart, so you can see here in ZB, well, you can see it in both of them. Here was the high of the day. Here was the open. They pushed down. They came back to the open. Right? They pushed down. They came back to the open. Now, and then they sat there for a long, long time. So when it's like that, I mean, there's no way to know. And there's a probability that it goes down like this, but because of the location that it's in, it's not necessarily a good trade because you can take this like um as she goes, sort of like one of those risk-free trades, but it's so slow here that tends to not work. And you could sit down and say, okay, well, if I get a new high, but then if I get a new low, it goes all the way down here to the bottom. So here again, your risk reward is even, right? But then you're right. When it was at 21, once it started falling out and you saw the deltas start to go short, then you could have taken it maybe between 21 and 18. But then there's these pullbacks as well. So if you caught it on the pullback to 16 and you sold it short again, and that one would have been a reasonable trade, I think. That one could have worked because you could have set your risk to be 17. So you could have done 2 ticks there. But yeah, it's not giving us like the best setups today, is it? Oh, why is this ES? That shouldn't be ES. That should be, this one should be PTC. Future. There we go. And it doesn't need to be tick. It should be, it shouldn't even be 100 tick. It should be volume. And it's not even going to be 1,000 volume. It's going to be, like 50 volume or something like that. Okay, yeah. And I need to load like many more days, like 180 days or something like that. The low overnight volume tricked my brain into thinking today would be super slow and tight, so naturally I just got unfocused. It's my fault. At least I didn't lose anything. I don't... See, I wouldn't think of it that way, though. Like, I would think of it as it was slow and it was tight, and frankly, it still kind of is. And the probability of you guessing correctly that it was going to move down versus it was going to move up was lower than normal, and so it wasn't as good of trading. And if you just sat tight and distracted yourself, then fine. It's like okay, because it wasn't like that amazing of a move. It was okay though. It was better than you would normally expect to get on a Monday in late April for sure. But I think that it's generally a good thing if you just preserved your capital today. That's my take. Um Yeah, it really came back there. What was the right thing to do to take the profit where we did? So really should have taken it off on the iceberg. So so let's change our plan now. If it's a slow day and we see a big iceberg, then we take the profit after getting a good run. Yeah, it was like a single, not like a home run. Yeah, we could have taken it short in ZN and possibly made 8 ticks, and I would have been very happy. But it wasn't like wouldn't be the end of the world. And I think that your context being that it's a Monday and that it's later in the month and we're at a time of year where things really start to turn slow, that and there wasn't anything super crazy happening in equity markets. It's just like a mean reversion trade. So given all of those things, I think that it was wise to preserve your capital. Now the E-mini could start pushing towards those highs, and I think that the action that we saw today does tell us one thing that is very useful, and that is that if the E-mini does decide to have a rally over the summer, that we could get some really good action in Treasuries selling it short, and we could have a better than usual summer. So we should keep an eye on that. And yeah, so I'm gonna go post my notes here. Gotta go in like 5 minutes, so let's generate it. I did make sure that I got all of that working. Come on, there we go. Downdraft in ZB should be over for day rotation back to 16, then to 22, big buy 12. Okay, well, I don't know. So it's 8:25. I'm going to take the kids into school, so I'm going to quit a little early today. Thank you guys for stopping by. I will catch you guys tomorrow. I don't know. It seems like it's still moving okay, especially for a Monday. So maybe this week's not going to be so bad. But I guess we'll see. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.